A serious development may be unfolding inside President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Reports indicate that as many as 4 ministers could step down from the federal cabinet as political calculations ahead of the 2027 elections begin to take shape. While cabinet changes are part of governance, the timing of this move is drawing national attention and raising important questions about political strategy and stability. For Nigerians at home and abroad watching the direction of the country, this development could carry significant implications. Here is what we know so far. A serious political development may be unfolding inside President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Reports suggest that as many as 4 ministers could step down from the federal cabinet ahead of the 2027 general elections. If confirmed, this would represent one of the earliest signs of political realignment within the current government. Cabinet changes are not unusual in Nigerian politics, but the timing of this development is raising important questions about political strategy, governance priorities, and what it could mean for the country's political landscape moving toward the next election cycle. Tonight, we take a closer look at what is being reported, why it matters, and what Nigerians at home and abroad should pay attention to in the coming months. Over the past few days, discussions within political circles and policy observers have focused on the possibility that several ministers in President Tinubu's cabinet may soon leave their positions. The report suggests that 4 ministers could step aside as part of broader political preparations ahead of the 2027 elections. While official confirmations have not yet been fully detailed, the conversation itself highlights how early political calculations may already be shaping decisions within the current administration. For Nigerians watching the direction of governance and politics, this development raises key questions. What exactly is happening inside the cabinet? Why would ministers consider stepping down this early? And how could it affect governance and political stability as the country moves closer to another election cycle? If you follow Nigerian political developments and want clear, balanced analysis that connects events at home with their impact on Nigerians abroad, consider subscribing to the channel and joining the conversation. Let us begin with the core facts that have been circulating. According to reports from political observers and sources within government circles, 4 serving ministers in President Tinubu's cabinet are expected to leave their positions. The main reason being discussed is political preparation for the 2027 general elections. In Nigeria, ministers who plan to run for major political offices, such as governor, senator, or other high-level positions, often step down from federal appointments ahead of election season. This is partly to focus on political campaigns and partly to comply with party and electoral expectations. While the exact identities of the ministers have not been formally confirmed in every report, the discussion itself reflects an important reality about Nigerian politics. The road to the next election often begins much earlier than many people expect. Even though 2027 may still appear distant, political planning inside major parties usually begins several years before voters go to the polls. And cabinet members, because of their national visibility and influence, are often among the first to begin positioning themselves. To understand why ministers might step aside, it is important to look at how Nigerian political systems operate. Serving ministers are responsible for managing critical sectors of government. These include areas such as infrastructure, health, education, finance, and energy. The responsibilities of a minister require full attention, administrative oversight, and regular engagement with national policy decisions. However, running for political office is also a demanding process. Campaigns involve building political alliances, consulting with party leaders, engaging with voters across states, and preparing policy agendas. Balancing both responsibilities at the same time can become difficult. For this reason, ministers who intend to contest elections often resign months or even years before campaign seasons fully begin. This allows them to focus on political preparations without creating conflicts between government duties and campaign activities. While ministerial resignations ahead of elections are not new in Nigeria, the timing of this possible development is attracting attention. President Tinubu's administration is still relatively early in its tenure. The government is currently implementing several policy initiatives aimed at economic reforms, fiscal adjustments, and long-term development strategies. Cabinet stability during this period is usually seen as important for consistent policy implementation. If multiple ministers were to leave at the same time, the administration may need to quickly appoint replacements in order to maintain continuity across key ministries. This process could involve new nominations, Senate confirmations, and policy transitions within ministries. Each of these steps requires careful coordination to ensure that governance continues smoothly. For President Tinubu, cabinet changes could present both challenges and opportunities. On one hand, losing experienced ministers may require the administration to adjust leadership within certain sectors. Transitions can slow policy execution temporarily while new officials settle into their roles. On the other hand, cabinet reshuffles also give presidents the opportunity to introduce fresh leadership and new policy perspectives. In many governments around the world, cabinet adjustments are used to strengthen administrative focus or realign priorities. If the reported ministerial exits take place, the presidency may view the moment as an opportunity to reinforce its policy agenda moving forward. Another important aspect of this development is its political significance. In Nigerian politics, cabinet members often represent important political constituencies. Their presence in government sometimes reflects regional balance, party influence, and political alliances within the ruling party. When ministers step down to pursue political ambitions, it can trigger new political alignments within both federal and state politics. For example, a minister who decides to contest a governorship election could immediately reshape the political landscape of their home state. Party structures may begin reorganizing around potential candidates. Political consultations may intensify within party leadership circles. Rival candidates may also begin positioning themselves for the same positions. In this way, cabinet exits often serve as early signals that the next election cycle is gradually approaching. For Nigerians within the country, the most immediate concern is how cabinet changes might affect governance. Citizens often expect ministries to deliver policies that improve economic conditions, infrastructure development, job opportunities, and social services. When leadership transitions occur, the key question becomes whether those policies will continue smoothly or face temporary delays. Government institutions are designed to maintain continuity, but leadership changes still require coordination. Observers will be watching closely to see how any cabinet transition is managed. For Nigerians living abroad in the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and across Europe, developments inside the federal cabinet are also significant. Government policies influence areas that directly affect diaspora communities, including economic reforms, investment opportunities, exchange rate stability, diaspora engagement programs, and international partnerships. When leadership changes occur in key ministries, they can influence how these policies evolve over time. Many Nigerians abroad follow these developments closely because they affect long-term national stability and economic direction. Another important aspect to watch is how political parties respond to these possible cabinet exits. Within the ruling party and other major parties, political discussions about 2027 are gradually beginning. Potential candidates are likely evaluating their political options. Party leaders may start encouraging certain individuals to contest specific positions. Regional political structures may begin aligning around emerging political figures. All of these developments typically unfold quietly at first, long before the official campaign season begins. Ultimately, the decision to appoint or replace ministers rests with the president, subject to Senate confirmation. If 4 ministers were to step down, President Tinubu would have the authority to nominate new individuals to fill those roles. These appointments could reflect several strategic considerations. They could aim to strengthen policy expertise within certain ministries. They could maintain regional representation within the cabinet. Or they could reinforce political alliances within the governing party. Each presidential administration approaches cabinet changes differently depending on its priorities. Several indicators will help observers understand how this situation develops in the coming months. Official announcements from the presidency will clarify whether any ministers have formally submitted resignations. The National Assembly would become involved if new nominees are presented for confirmation. Political activity within states connected to these ministers could intensify as potential election campaigns begin to take shape. Nigeria's political system is dynamic, and developments within the federal cabinet often reflect broader shifts in political strategy. The report suggesting that 4 ministers may step down ahead of the 2027 elections are attracting attention not simply because of the positions involved, but because of what they may signal about the early stages of the next political cycle. For citizens and observers, the key question will be whether any transitions strengthen governance and policy delivery while allowing the political process to unfold responsibly. Nigeria's institutions are designed to manage leadership changes while maintaining administrative continuity. As always, the coming months will reveal how these political developments evolve. If you value balanced reporting on Nigerian politics and want clear explanations of the developments shaping the country's future, subscribe to the channel and stay connected for more in-depth analysis.